Well, I'm sitting in for Janet again this week. That girl's busier than one-armed paper hanger, Glenn.
Yeah, and she let the guys home alone. Oh, that's bad.
Glenn Baublitz from Sustainable Living Made Easy. That's what you're listening to. Obviously, you clicked on the podcast here. And Glenn, we're talking about shortages today. Is that right?
Yeah, I kind of watch the ag reports that come out, and usually for crop production, that stuff doesn't come out till later in the year, so they kind of know what the yield is going to be.
Okay.
You know, this year they're already talking shortages, and it's because of it's either flooding or drought, and it's all over the world.
Yes,
and I don't know what's going on. Well, they monkeying with the weather, but I don't think so. It's more. This El Nino effect.
Right.
Now, I think the world's got a different plan than we do.
Yes,
so,
I would agree.
So things are moving around, but it's messing up our crops, and all across Asia. China is having a real problem with their rice. Now, them people eat a lot of rice, as we all know.
Yeah.
And then you got war. War has...
I didn't realize how much Ukraine was supplying certain things to the world.
20% of the world's grain was coming through Ukraine, and now it's in our second year of this war.
Right.
And it was an immediate shortage. They were kind of holding hostage. Putin was holding hostage all these grain shipments out.
Sure.
Well, a lot of that rotted.
Yeah.
On board ship. Just absolutely rotted. So it never did get back out.
Sure.
So now it's the same things, but these farmers are trying to farm during a war. Can you imagine that?
I can imagine.
I complain about the heat.
Right. Sure.
At least there's not mortar shells falling on me.
Sure.
But the weather's not cooperating. The cost of just farming itself is just through the roof because of the fertilizer cost, petroleum cost, you name it.
Yes.
Then you come here to the United States, and it's the same thing. We're having oddball weather. In our grain belt, they get a little rain like it should, and then there's this drought. Right now we're in a kind of a heat wave that should not be here till August.
Yeah.
Which is not helping my garden at all. You would think, good hot sunny days, that's great, but no rain, that's real bad.
Yeah.
Things dry out, stress the plants out, and that will reduce your yield.
Yeah.
So they're talking about this all over the world.
How about this? And I don't want to go political on you, but some governments are causing these problems. Look over in Europe where the farmers were protesting, driving their tractors into the capitals of some of these countries, saying, "We're not going to comply with some of this stuff that you're putting on us."
I really question their decision to tell these farmers, you can't do this, you can't do that, when it's their food supply.
Right.
So you have to ask yourself, well, why would they do that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's some type of control thing. And I don't want to go political with it neither, because you don't know. I can't speak truthfully at it and say this is definitive reason.
There's so many nuances that come into play.
Whatever it is, it's dang sure nefarious. Or whatever it is, it's not good for the people.
Yes.
I've seen a little T-shirt that says, America is pissed. And I'm seeing a lot of flags upside down, which you know what that means.
I know what it means.
A country in distress or a fort in distress. But we're just not hearing it. And people watch too much TV programming. If you watch your program, that's what you're getting. You're getting a program, and they know what they're doing. They give you the buzzwords, and it sticks in your head, and that's how you operate. Oh, my gosh, people, turn that TV off. There's nothing on there for you.
Well, Janet and I are doing music radio now. We used to do talk radio. Every now and then we'll play a couple songs out, and we'll look at a video. We looked at one, just the other day where they were literally saying what you say, the current occupant of the White House wandering around, that's not true. He's fully sharp as a tack, and they don't want you to believe your eyes. You don't need a camera angle.
They actually said the words, this interviewer says, "This is what you saw."
Right.
No, I saw what I saw.
Right.
You can't tell me what I saw.
Yeah.
But yet that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you could throw rocks at them and say they're they're nefarious and all that, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes down to shortages, how do we prepare? Because we know that if the product is available, we're definitely going to pay a higher price for it now.
Well,
if you can get it.
You have to look ahead and say, okay, these are the shortages. Well, what are those categories? Rice is a big one.
Yeah.
That's a worldwide shortage. If you can get a hold of some rice in bulk and split it among your family, friends, and community, whatever it is. I mean, I don't care if you buy a 1,500-pound bag of bulk rice, you could get rid of that fairly quickly because the prices are just going through the roof.
And rice, you look at a lot of dishes in many cultures, rice is like one of the mainstays right there.
And it's a good long-term storage item. It just makes sense to have that in bad economic times, you know, and you can tell they're already here. So why aren't you doing it? You know, are you buying up these staples? Even if you have just a few extra dollars, buy a staple that's going to be long-term. You're just ensuring your future. If you're not going to do that, I don't have nothing for you.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are not doing anything.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those people.
Right.
Because it is for real. You know, it may have sounded conspiratorial 5 years ago. It's no longer that.
Right.
Everybody
well, I mean,
says, right. You're saying, well, there's evidence of it. There's more evidence of it.
Sure.
Now it's blatantly in your face.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a commercial on TV saying, prepare, buy long-term storage for. There's a reason they're telling you that.
Right.
Well, at any rate. Well, so rice is one of them. The wheat, of course, we talked about.
Yeah.
Corn, because of the bad crops, because we're having flooding in one area and drought in another, that drops our corn crops. Now, a lot of products are made out of corn.
Yeah.
Including all the feeds.
Yes.
Feed stocks, your chickens feed, your hog feed, all that depends on the corn mostly. So those things are a definite shortage. Cornmeal is probably going to be our new bread.
Really? Okay.
No wheat.
Yeah, that's true.
And if we have something major happen, you know, catastrophe-wise, you have no way to grind your own.
True.
Most people wouldn't.
And cornmeal, I would assume you keep it dry. It'll last.
Right. You keep the kernel whole, then grind it.
Okay.
You know, but you have to have either a little harvest right grinder or whatever. But you can do that. The wheat is grown out in the Midwest. There's very few wheat farms around here. Maybe some barley and oats, that kind of thing.
Right.
But very few wheat farms around here. So you have to have a staple supplement. It says man does not live by bread alone.
Right.
So apparently bread's pretty important. Well, bread's been important for the whole world for a long time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, so if you can't get that wheat or can't get that bread or bread products or flour products, what are you going to supply that with? Well, you're going to have to use the corn. And you can grow the corn yourself. We're actually growing Ohio Blue Claridge. You ever hear of it? That's about 400-year-old corn. It's kind of like Indian corn, the reds and all multicolors. But this is Ohio Blue Claridge. It's been around for 400 years, so it's an heirloom. It puts out a good size ear, so you know you have a decent crop when you get it. But it makes the wildest blue cornbread you ever see.
How about that?
Blue is just not the name; it is blue.
How about that?
But you've seen blue tortilla chips.
Yeah,
right?
I have.
Okay, there you go.
That's okay.
So, one of the things about the blue Claridge I like is you can also feed it to animal stocks.
Okay.
So the chickens actually lay better with it because it has that blue in it. Antioxidants.
Okay.
Has certain amino acids in it and minerals that help the chickens out. So you can not only eat it fresh, right out like 4th of July, have a corn on the cob. It's going to be blue. Imagine that. But you can let it stay in the field till the end of the year and harvest that and store it and use it as a cornmeal. Use it for baking, those kind of things. So that's an option. Vegetable oil. Because of all the seed crops are for vegetable oil is made from these seed crops. that's a problem because we just said we're having problems at all the grains.
Right. There's a rippling effect.
So that the vegetable oil, okay, olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Italy is having a terrible time with their weather also. So there's going to be a shortage of olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of irks me right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of oils, you should stay away from seed type oils. Go for the olive oil, lards, coconut oil.
Coconut, okay.
Those tend to last longer anyway, with the exception of lard. But lards are easily replaceable because everybody is killing hogs. There's somebody always there. And usually nobody takes the lard.
Interesting.
Now, there's two different types of lard. It's just rendered fat is all it is. But the leaf lard, which is what all the bakers want, makes the best biscuits in the world.
Okay.
But it comes from the interior of the hog, not on the outside. It's not the yellowish fat. It's not that. This is bright white.
Okay.
Lasts a long time. Doesn't have a real strong flavor to it, like you would do a piece of fat back. Those kind of things. But that is a very good one. You might want to get in touch with the guy that's growing hogs down the road and say, you got any leaf lard? Because that may be your only source. Now, we're talking if something gets bad and that's the only source of oils, and you must have these fats and oils in your diet, or you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
You'll lock up inside, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So we talked about what's causing all these things. Now, what do you do about them? Well, we just went over some of them. Another one is going to be milk. Because so many farms have shut down from the milk production, it's just darn near impossible for these guys to make money off of this. But you can get powdered milk. Okay. Now, this is maybe conspiratorial, but FEMA right now is rethinking their emergency management plan. Okay. And I find it ironic that the initials are EMP, but emergency management plan. But the top officials are talking to the state officials and coming up with the plan, what they're going to do for a major catastrophe. Right. And one of them is confiscation. That was the biggest discussion. Really? Was confiscation. Now, that's always been in there.
We're coming for your guns and your milk powder?
Yeah. Well, they do it and they claim it's for the public good. Anytime you hear that, it's not for the public good. No. But that's what FEMA does.
If you're a freedom-loving America, it's probably not good.
FEMA comes in an emergency and says, okay, I know this sucks, but we all got to pull together. And they take resources. If they need a truck and you have a truck, they have the right to take it. Now, what they would do is declare martial law. Right. Martial law immediately suspends the Constitution temporarily. Right. That's scary as crap to me. It really is. Because then it's whoever is in charge of that at the time becomes the authority of jurisdiction. Yeah. I'm looking around and I'm going, I don't want these people in charge of my wheelbarrow, much less my food supply, the water supply. So now this, again, it sounds like something scary, but they come and take these things, not just from you. First thing they do is go to like Food Line, those places where it's bulk. They don't want to come to your house and take it. Right. If it comes down all the way to us taking it out of my storage,
we're in really bad shape by then.
But I wouldn't worry too much about it because they're already starving too. So for me, I just have enough stored back that you can hunker down and stay out of the way. You don't want to be out there in that kind of chaos because it's going to be that bad. But and it can happen. I mean, have you seen Haiti lately?
Oh my gosh! I just talked to some people that knew missionaries in Haiti, and
they have silenced anything about Haiti. There was a few little stories coming out. We've heard the horror stories of cannibalism, that kind of stuff.
Gangs are running things.
I'm here to tell you it's 10 times worse today because that was 3 months ago that we started hearing that. So that is human nature run amok.
Yeah.
Don't think it can't happen right here, because there's mean people here.
Sure.
There's no doubt.
Absolutely.
And I think they're all.
Oh, we've
Washington
imported
at the moment.
potentially 10 million over the last 2 or 3 years. I'm not saying they're all mean.
Oh, there he went there, folks.
But
yeah,
but I guarantee you there are some mean people, because we just heard of another
that girl,
just another murder,
raped and murdered, and the guy got caught 3 times.
He was guilty of that in Venezuela, too. You know, and when Trump gets up there, and I don't want to make this a Trump thing, but he gets up there and says, "Look, I don't, they don't need to send their prisoners and, bad hombres," he calls them, into our country.
Don't trash on my lawn.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
He said we need immigrants. We need immigrants to help with our country, but we don't. It's got to be done legally. The whole word is legally.
What I find just so crazy is the people that came here legally are so ticked.
Oh, sure they are.
They worked their butt off to do that.
They did.
So don't think that just because the guy's Mexican, and I'm here to tell you, they're hardworking.
Oh, they're
people.
very hard.
So don't think that they're encouraging these other people because it's taking their jobs from the family. They get it too.
Yes, right.
They're not stupid.
Right.
They may be not as well educated, but they are smart.
They're smart.
They're hardworking people.
Yep.
They definitely take care of their families, all that kind of thing that you want in your community. So don't excommunicate them just because he looks different and he's a Mexican.
Right.
Now,
their family structures, communities are a lot tighter than many other community.
They are dedicated to their group, and as they should be.
Yeah.
But they're also dedicated to the people they're working for. They work hard for their employer.
Sure.
Unlike many of the people that I've hired, and had to get rid of.
Sure.
I'm thinking these people don't give a hoot. They're just here for a paycheck.
Right.
But on the other hand, some of them that I've had have been really good.
Well,
and those are the kind of people we want.
Yeah. And we're going to take a break here, and one of the things we'll just address just a tiny bit on this little mound or soapbox when we get out of the break. But one of the things that I understand we've had over 29,000 Chinese nationalists. That's heard one guy say it was the size of a kinetic army, and they could be good, bad, or indifferent. I don't know. We only need a handful of that 29,000 that could shut our grid down. So these things are all possibilities. We're hoping they don't happen, but that's why we do this show, Sustainable Living. We'll be back with Glenn Ballblitz here in just a moment.
Get ready for a new soundtrack for your life. Doc Rock, Smith Mountain Lake. It's music that'll take away your troubles for a while.
That's what I'm talking about!
Wake up with Janet and Mark on the Morning Jam. They'll keep you informed and encouraged, and we all need more of that.
You say jam?
You're invited to be a part of the Doc Rock family, your feel-good station. Doc Rock, Smith Mountain Lake.
Glenn, before we went into the break, I was talking about, the 29,000, and I've heard that as a conservative number that have come over Chinese nationalists, and we know China doesn't like us. They could, if they had 12 people. What was it? 19? They gave us 9/11.
Right.
It doesn't take that many people to
think
pull
about
something
the
off.
Chinese nationalists coming in. These people are trained to come in. Some of the other countries, they're just trying to get here any way they can.
Right.
They may have somebody on the other sides helping them out a little bit, but the Chinese, they say this is how you get into this country. So how many were missed?
Right.
How many paid attention to their training and went in exactly like they should have as an enemy going into an enemy combatant camp? I spent a little time in the military. I know what they were doing. So that number of 29,000 is probably wrong by tenfold because most military people paid attention to the training, so they came in undetected.
Right.
So there you are. More bad.
Well,
let's talk about good.
Well, I guess I just want us to be aware of that because don't get caught off guard. because we could have another derecho come through our area, and people were without power for 10 days in some cases. That brings it home. That's why we want you to be prepared.
Absolutely, and I think that these people that are nefarious that are here, and we definitely know they are. There's going to be symbolism in their attack, and there's been some talk about July 4th being a possibility. So you must be situationally aware.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you want a good class, go see Mark Goldbreath. He does those kind of classes.
Marco does those classes.
And you go, wow, never thought of that.
Yeah.
So shout out to him.
Yeah.
But it's back onto the home front. The beef prices are getting pretty much out of whack. You're gonna have to do something differently. We just can't afford to buy a good cut of beef. And what typically happens is when these prices are headed in the direction they are, you start buying the cheaper cuts, and sometimes you just want a steak.
Yeah.
If you want to continue that, you better befriend someone that knows how to butcher or is raising beef. There is CSAs going on. There's Triple Oak Farms. He raises hogs, and he has excellent meat. Get in with these people that are local. Don't depend on going to Kroger and paying $14 a pound when you could do much better than that.
All right.
Just going in with somebody on a half cow. So between learning to do it yourself or helping someone that is doing it, and I'm here to tell you, any farmer that's butchering a beef, that is a lot of work. It's usually a 2-day process.
Right.
And then 10 days later, after it's been hung for a few days, it's another 2 days. So they appreciate that work. And even if you're not buying the whole cow, you'll get some out of that. Farmers do recognize when you're helping.
Right.
And you become part of a community, and we're missing that. Everybody wants to do their own little thing in their own little world. Well, I'm here to tell you can't do it all. I've tried, and I've come close, but then there's just blank spots, little holes that I go, wow, I need help to do this.
Sure.
And I have those people, and they will come. You just find your little niche that you can help them. So create that win-win deal. Always make a win-win deal so you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, that's get it with your local farmer.
Well,
and that goes for anything, not just beef. I mean, vegetables. My wife planted 8 rows of beets just so some friends that says, if you grow them, we'll buy them back from you. They don't have time to grow, or they don't have the place to grow.
Right.
So she's a resource to them, and they help us. That's just the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that you're going to need those kind of people a lot more in the future.
I think it's interesting. It's just having a plan.
Absolutely.
Just having a plan.
Well, and as far as being vigilant, we talk about the weather and what the weather is doing in China. How's that affect me? Well, the same way that the war in Ukraine is affecting you.
Right.
Everything means something because we're kind of globally tied.
Yeah, we're tied together now. I mean, there's no way around that.
So if
anymore.
you've got this secondary source for these things, you're better off.
Right.
You're just increasing your odds of having what you need. And people are not thinking like that too much anymore because it's been a convenience world.
It has.
My wife says, convenience is going to kill us.
I know. And I saw a commercial. I wish I could remember the full premise of it. But it was like, basically, don't worry about anything. DoorDash will take care of it all. Are you kidding me? You think these people are going to be driving their little Uber vehicles around, their little electric vehicles coming to your house? Hell, they're not even going to be able to charge it if the bottom falls out. It's just like, and they're pushing even more of that convenience on us.
You can tell which industries are getting in trouble by the number of commercials that they're putting out that they never did before.
Right.
So, pay attention to that part.
Yeah, sure.
If all of a sudden you see 25 commercials in a row for Uber, that means Uber says, wow, I got to do something different because I'm losing money.
So the shortages, it comes into play. And even if things stayed the same, in other words, if things didn't get any worse, let's say that, put it that way. We would still be dealing with issues because of all these other things that have come into play with the flooding and the droughts and those kinds of things.
We never recovered from the COVID part.
Correct.
We lost all that labor, and
Yes.
everybody was told to stay home. Well, there's a penalty phase for that.
Oh yeah, we're in it.
And it just has not recovered. In fact, it's gotten worse. So anything that we had stored up in bulk had to be released because they thought it was going to be okay the next year. Well,
Right.
that never
That
happened.
didn't happen. You're right.
So it's exacerbating the problem. And people are just kind of oblivious because they're not going to tell you these things.
Right.
They're just not. And it's not like the shelves are empty. That's not how this works. Kroger used to get 10, well, I'm not going to, shouldn't have put out Kroger, but some of the food stores, instead of getting 10 deliveries a week, truckloads, they're getting 5.
Right.
Okay, that means that 50% is not coming in
Right.
in a regular basis.
Sure.
So what's that mean? That means that they're going to still put out, every store is still going to be distributed some items. They're just going to be way more expensive.
Right.
No different than the stock market.
Up and down.
Supply and demand will always dictate that
Yes.
price, and it's an immediate thing. You don't think that these stores are not watching what's happening with
Oh,
the
yeah.
growing season?
They got people. That's all they do is watch that stuff.
It's what the whole commodities market is all
Right,
about.
absolutely.
I mean, people make millions off of the commodities.
Yeah, it's like playing the table in Vegas,
Right.
but you're betting on commodities.
Eddie Murphy did that one. What was that?
Yes,
movie he did?
48 hours, I think. Or,
No.
Oh,
it was
trading places.
Trading places.
Yes, yeah.
That was a very good snapshot of how things work
Yeah.
with commodities. And that's kind of eye-opening. And if you take those same kind of principles and apply it to what you're saying, you could do the same thing.
And the thing now is that because of the advance in technology, that you'd have to speed that movie up because that stuff would happen even quicker now.
Absolutely.
Because of
Well,
all the electronics
I
and trading
read,
and stuff.
Yeah, I read about, I think it was Berkshire Hathaway that uses AI to monitor now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So AI is much better at it because it can
Well, it's a lot
take
more sensitive.
take micro information
Yes.
and make more sense out of it much faster than you could with pencil and paper.
Sure.
So that's how they're making billions off of
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Somebody's always getting rich.
Yeah, and they're doing it with individual companies that are growing, say, coffee beans or whatever. This particular company has had a terrible drought problem, and they go, okay, that stock's going to drop, and they're making billions off of it.
Right.
They already know it before the news ever comes out about it.
Right.
AI has already predicted what that's going to do.
Right.
So I'm just saying that's
No, but I mean that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. We're
that's
there.
the same kind of information you can do, just not quite as fast as AI. But
Sure.
that vigilance, when you say, does this mean somehow is this going to affect me? I mean, it works in my garden. My potato production went down because of this dry heat. That's not good for my potatoes.
Sure.
So I've adjusted how much I think I'm going to have at the end of the year, and I say I'm going to be pretty close. Some other things like it, the watermelons, they just went nuts and go, all right, heat. Sweet potatoes, oh, I love the heat. So that went up.
Right.
So not everything is bad here.
Sure. Well, Glenn, that's a lot of information. Is there any particular source that you could recommend that we can kind of get a bird's eye, view of these things as far as shortages? Is there like a Wall Street Journal or something like that?
No.
Or
What you're going to have to find is just start typing in queries. What are the typical food shortages, the top 10, and they'll spit it out for you, and you'll have to do some research. Or you're going to get snippets. Don't look for somebody to get like the Department of Agriculture. That's pretty much worthless,
Right.
Because they don't want you to panic.
That's right.
So you're not going to get accurate information there. What you got to do is get to somewhere that's saying, I work for these people, and this is what we're seeing. Peanuts is one of them. That's bad. I mean, you realize how many kids eat peanut
Oh, my
butter jelly
gosh.
sandwich?
Yeah.
Well, adults too. Eggs are a problem. Potatoes are going to be a problem. So this season, if you can find those things in bulk, you should probably gather them up. I talk about buying in bulk a lot. The auction houses, the produce auction places, one in Mannheim, we're getting ready to go to that one. I think there's one in Red House. You should probably visit that because you can get a lot better deals there.
Okay.
And they're really kicking off now. This is their season too. And they gather from the whole East Coast, so it's not like it's just some local thing.
Right.
But a lot of the ones that are here locally, like the one at Red House, that's a lot of the Amish and the Mennonites. And they're just not selling enough fast enough because of the market. People just don't have the money. So it ends up at the auction house.
Right.
That's a benefit for you.
Okay.
You can go down there and buy up, 100 pounds of potatoes for a third of the price that you would pay at the store. I mean, that just makes sense. And if you're doing it for a group, that's even better.
Sure.
Going to have to think a little different here, people.
Yeah.
So that's my suggestion anyway.
Well, we appreciate it, Glenn, as always. Always giving us a different camera angle to look at because it's the big picture. This is like we try over several weeks to give you a panoramic view, but we have to stop and we can only look to the left and right a little bit so we can cover things like shortages and other aspects of being ready. It's
if you don't know, then you can't prepare.
Right.
So turn the TV off. That is my suggestion. You're not gonna get anything worthwhile in my humble opinion. And start digging in for the small stories where you have an individual that doesn't have an agenda.
Right.
Doesn't have has not had their puppet strings pulled.
Sure.
Do it for yourself, Don't depend on everybody. This is not a convenient world, regardless of the convenience that they try to put out there for you.
Yeah. Well, again, Glenn, thanks for being with us today and bringing us this great information.
All right. Thank you.